Thank you guys for joining us today on FS Uncut. I'm joined here with my co-host, pro football agent Eddie, and I'm also joined by Arsenal and Nigeria fan Jide, and Chelsea and Mrs. Gold Diggers Anita. We'll start off with Arsenal. So obviously Arsenal, since before quarantine, they were losing games. After quarantine, seems like nothing's changed. I'll start off with Jide. Where do you think Arsenal are at, and how do you get out of this situation that you're in?
All right, so what happened is because Emery basically put a curse on us when he left. He knew he wasn't loved by the club. He knew the fans didn't like him, so he thought, you know what? Let me speak to one ableist to sort something out. On a serious note, though, the problem with Arsenal is we know that we don't have athleticism in the right areas of the pitch. So we don't have athleticism in midfield, and we don't have it at the back. And I feel like Arteta is trying to compensate by making a very technically competent team and play in a very technical way. But the other problem is we don't have the players to do that. So we're in a catch-22 right now. So we don't have the athletic players and we don't have the technical players to try and do what he needs to do. So we're just feeding off scraps. Like I knew, because we were drawing games and we were just about eking games before quarantine started, and we was losing. It was so-so. But I knew when you have a 3-month period with no football, these guys are just chilling. There's no technical drills. No one's getting anything in them. That we're gonna get found out. And as you can see, Brentwood or Brentford?
Yeah,
Brentford. Yeah.
That's 3-2. Like really. And when I knew that happened, I was like, "Yep, we're not ready." Ready. And you can see Brighton. It was a bad game. We weren't playing well. That's what we weren't playing well to the point that when we scored our goal, Pepe scored his goal. That's another guy that Jesus. But yeah, when he scored his goal, I've had enough of him. Like the lights are on him. But when he scored his goal, I was like, okay, we need to just basically somehow get the 3 points here. We've not played well. But I knew it's with Arsenal, there was an inkling that something was going to go wrong. I just knew it. And when Brighton scored the 2 late goals, it wasn't even I'm disappointed. It was I knew this was going to happen. I'll be real with you. I was in my group chat saying, knew it was going to happen. I was going to even put a bet against us. That's how bad it was. Like, it was so bad. And when you have players like I like Guendouzi, I like his passion, I like that he's young, and I like he wants to impose himself in the team and make himself known, make himself a presence. But bro, you're not good enough yet. We are not good enough. You're not good enough to be talking to a man about how you earn 40 grand. And what is that?
Yeah.
What is that? Like when I found out that's what he was saying to my man, I was like, boy, Mupe was just nice. Because if that was me,
when you scored that goal,
if that was me, I would have been so disrespectful. Like Guendouzi would have to slap me on the pitch.
What about you, Eddie? Where do you think Arsenal are at, and where can they go from here?
Well, I think I'm in a similar boat to you, because I think being an Arsenal fan myself, and not a lot of people know that I kind of keep that close to my chest because of what I do, of course. But seeing that we're speaking amongst family, I'm an Arsenal fan myself, so it's been very, very hard and difficult and disparaging to see the demise of the club, and I was always one of the guys that was speaking about be careful of what you wish for, almost a case of better the devil you know than the devil you don't, because I think Arsenal brought such a quality and a system and a style to the club and the ethos to the club and the structure to the club that he almost had all the keys to Arsenal, if you like. It was going to be very, very hard, similar to Sir Alex Ferguson when he was at Manchester United. Anybody that got the job after them was going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. So it was never going to be easy. But I think that Arsenal's got to go through this transition period, and it's not going to be nice for fans. And I know when we got Unai Emery, everyone's thinking, okay, great. But we saw how it played out there. You got Mikel Arteta now, who's a fantastic player, captain of the club, had a great career, done fantastically well under Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. But with the best will in the world, everyone could do well under Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. You know what I'm saying? So no disrespect to Arteta, because I think he's a top guy, and I know he's a top guy, and I know he's a lovely fellow. And I think for me, it's a case of you're going in there on the pretense or the proviso that you are Pep Guardiola's main man.
Basically, yeah. So
therefore, there was a host of managers that would have been better equipped or better served to get your job. He's having to come in now and pick up from Arsene Wenger, which is never going to happen. Pick up Unai Emery, who was kind of barking up a tree, and he's now got to try and implement his structure and his style of play and his enthusiasm and his work rate and ethic to the team, which, let's be honest, I think as an Arsenal fan, this ain't the Arsenal team of old.
I think you're right in the sense that, there isn't the same fear. And Anita, you supporting Chelsea, one thing that Chelsea are known for is when you're down, you don't stay down for a long time. And I know
the workers, the battlers.
Yeah, you could argue maybe it's to do with money, but what would you say as a Chelsea fan? What would you advise to what's your advice to Arsenal, or what would you suggest that Arsenal should do to get out of where they're at?
Yeah, so I literally just think that Arsenal need to spend money on the right players, because Nicolas Pepe sold us all a dream. Acknowledge the fact that he sold us a dream. Stop putting your faith in him. Acknowledge the fact that you guys may have messed up and bought the wrong player. Don't get me wrong, he's still a talented player, but maybe the Premier League just isn't for him. And that happens to several talented players. But acknowledge the L, take the L, fix the L. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, one thing Arsenal don't do, they won't acknowledge where they are going wrong. And it's not the managers and it's not the players or whatever. It's basically up top. Yeah? So what's his name?
Kroenke, yeah.
Edu, Raul,
Kroenke, all of them.
A whole batch. They need to really evaluate Arsenal's stance right now and consider whether they want Arsenal to remain a top 4 club, because the money you're spending 20 years ago is not the same money that you can spend now. So what Arsenal need to do, they just need to jump on a wave of buying new players and going all out for them. Liverpool, for example, they're not known for buying, expensive players, but they saw a problem at their back. They fixed it and they went all out for Van Dijk.
Yeah.
And now they're the champions of England.
Say that again.
Maybe. But one thing for sure, they're the champions of Europe. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's only down to Van Dijk, but the fact that they made the right transfer, they put the money into that transfer, and now that they're champions of Europe, it all just adds up. It makes sense. Put the money into the right players, get them in, and Arsenal could possibly get back to being a top 4 team, because right now they're spending money like a top 10 team, and they're playing like a top 10 team with it. It's just unfortunate, honestly.
So, Anita, let me ask you, sorry to cut across you. I totally understand what you're saying. I totally respect where you're coming from. I think that's a very, very valid point. But asking you as an Arsenal fan at this present moment in time, we turned around and spent 70 odd million quid on Nicolas Pepe, which obviously you've expressed your feelings about, what he is and what he isn't, which I totally respect, regardless of my position as an Arsenal fan and knowing the fella personally. But how do you feel going forward we rectify this as a fan or as someone that knows football?
As a fan? What can you do as a fan?
But what would in your ideal situation, what would you like to see happen?
Literally, like I said, spend money. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I'm a Chelsea fan, innit?
Of course you are. Yeah.
So solution for everything
is to spend money.
No. I've been raised in football. We see a problem, we spend money, we fix it, and that's how it's been since Abramovich took over. Which coincidentally is when I started watching football.
Okay. But to be fair, what I will say with that is I completely agree with Anita's sentiments. And if I was gonna go back a bit further, is when we still had Wenger, and there was a possibility of the Liverpool manager being free.
Yeah, Klopp. Yeah.
Jurgen Klopp said, managing a club like Arsenal would be fantastic. He would love to manage a club like Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Wenger was declining at that period as well. That was an opportunity. Liverpool went.
Yeah.
Another time, like look at Liverpool's transfers. Liverpool were what? When Suarez left, you lot finished like
6th,
8th or
7th.
9th.
Yeah.
Just disgusting. But then they went out and sourced specific players because they knew they were going to get Jurgen. They sourced the specific players for his style. Went and got Mane for 35 mil.
Yeah.
Went and got
even Firmino for him.
Firmino was at 15 mil.
Yeah.
It was at 15 mil. You don't even need to spend big money.
25. Yeah.
25 wasn't crazy money. Went and bought the right players. It wasn't a one-season job. It was, but you can see what Liverpool were trying to do. You will see the type of players that we're trying to buy. The problem we've done is we've spent money. Arsenal have spent money. That's what people don't realize. But we've spent badly.
Yeah.
Yes.
We consistently spend badly, and that's our problem.
To be fair, when you think about it, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe, if you got those three right, like Liverpool got Firmino, Mane, and Salah right, you would be near the top 4.
That's it.
That's
fact.
You would actually be
that is
top 4.
That is facts.
Yeah, but I think Aaron, I heard what you're saying, and I think the difference between that, and I want to go back and ask Anita and Jenny, just a couple of things, but I think you look at that, we've got 3 top world-class strikers, players in that position. But the difference is you could be as good as you in terms of Aubameyang, Ozil, and Laka.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
They may not be in the caliber at the moment like your 3 are right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Or Man City's 3 are right now. But what I'm trying to say is that the problem comes from deeper than that. I think before you get the ball over to these 3 talented players that can change the game for you, win you the game, we do not have anybody there that can deliver that pass, that can see that pass, that can, Aubameyang's on his way. Here's that ball, that we once had.
Yeah. I think we do have that. We have that.
Who?
We have it. We don't have it. We don't have it at that level. That is like
you can do that in your team.
But that's a Jenny. Sorry, Jenny. That is the fundamental difference between a good team and a Champions League winning team.
But Liverpool don't have
Premier League winning team.
Liverpool don't have a player that can just put a crazy pass every now and then. They
to
have
be fair, as much as you guys don't rate Henderson can do that.
Yeah, but anyone can spray the ball. Look, Xhaka can spray the ball. Xhaka can spray the ball.
No. Xhaka can spray the ball, but there's no way in the God's earth Xhaka's going to be able to put a ball through the eye of a needle into
Henderson.
He's never done it. You look at his stats; he's never done it.
But he's a better. Let's agree. Xhaka's a better
Bobby Firmino. That Bobby Firmino that will go. I'm just going to sit 20 yards back and get the ball from the holding midfielder, and I'm going to play that ball because I know what it's like to be a centre forward. So I know the kind of balls that these guys are going to like. And I think for me,
that goes back to the point of buying the right players.
That's what This is exactly my point. So this is what I'm saying. So I think we have not bought very well in the last, I'll say, 5 to 8 years. Do you get what I mean? We've not bought well since that old school guard, the Invincibles. Yeah. And I think that's what's coming back, Anita, to come and punish us right now, because when Chelsea have been upgrading their team, when Man United has been upgrading their players, and when Tottenham's been upgrading their players, we've kind of sat still and gone, well, that old sentiment and that old ethos Arsene Wenger left, this is what we're going to now look to go forward with. But guess what? Football's like life. Everything changes.
Yeah.
And if you're stuck and you're not changing, like you said, Anita, Chelsea see a problem and they go, bang, here's 50 million, here's 100 million, whatever it takes, go and get it sorted out.
But you still have to get the right player. Though.
You have to get the right player when you spend.
But the right player now comes from, from my perspective, guys, listen up. I'm only speaking from my perspective, okay? From my perspective, if I'm representing a player and I know Anita's at Chelsea and she's saying to me, yo, Ed, you know what? I want your player to come and play for my side. And then, Jenny, you turn around and say, come to Arsenal. I've got 2 London clubs, right?
Who are you going
one
to?
West London, which is a beautiful place, and one in North London, which is a beautiful place. But what's going to make me as an agent sway my player to go to the right club where he's going to fulfill his ambition?
Whoever's offering the
I'll be
most
honest
money.
with you. I'd like to go to Chelsea. Say again, so I didn't hear that. Say again.
I said whoever's offering the most money. Straight.
100%.
Quickly, we're gonna. I think for me personally, I just think first of all, Arsenal cannot sack Arteta because nothing is gonna change.
Yeah.
There's no point
No.
getting rid of him.
It'll be a revolving door.
They just need to find the right players. And just to conclude, and then we'll move on to the next topic. Jide, who are like 2 or 3 players that you can kind of think of that you'd say can transform Arsenal into a top 4 club?
Jenny, should I help you there? Neymar, Kylian Mbappe. Neymar, Kylian Mbappe. Who else am I?
Get Mbappe. Just throw the back at him.
I'm crying.
Should I help you with?
Nah. You know what though? It's not easy, but they're still playing.
It's not easy. It's not easy. So personally, I want Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
I like him as a player. I feel like he's the player.
He's an upgrade of a Jack Wilshere.
Oh, come on, man. I love Jack Wilshere too much, man. I can't even...
No. When I say he's an upgrade of Jack Wilshere, I mean in terms of injuries.
Yeah. He won't get injured. Like he's got good engine on him. He's technically good. He can play across midfield. Like he's the type of profile.
He's a typical Arsenal player.
Yeah.
We also need an enforcer. So I'm trying to think of centre midfielder as like an enforcer because right now what we have is we don't have the legs in midfield.
Yeah.
No.
And that is for me is a key area.
How about the boy at Napoli who also can play centre back?
Who? Koulibaly.
I mean, that would be a great.
I can tell you from the inside, about 3 or 4 windows ago, there was serious talk of Arsenal getting him. And guess what? We didn't get him because of what, Anita? What do you think, Anita? Why do you think we didn't get him? Exactly that.
No, I fully get that.
Sure.
And that is where we're falling off. And we're kind of short right now. But again, like I said, if we get a Koulibaly type of player, Grealish, I feel like I really love Aubameyang.
He's top drop.
He's world class. He's our best player in my opinion. But he's 31, and I know he wants to win.
But don't forget, he's an African 31, so he's got another 5, 6, 7 years in him.
I'm not even saying like he's old or anything. I'm saying he's 31. He's at the prime of his career. He's not really won anything. So if we can use him, get him to a better club, and take maybe some of their maybe 1 or 2 of their young talents for it, or something like that.
Yeah.
Something that can happen. You know what I mean?
We'll jump on it. Oh, sorry, go and finish.
So I was gonna say that there is hope in Arsenal. Like Saka, I'm keen on him. If we can convince him to play left back, that's that sorted. Great player for me. Great attacking talent. When he has space as a left wing back, he delivers the ball great. Puts it where you want it to be. He's fast. He's strong. For me, wonderful player. So there is hope. We bought centre backs coming through soon. So Arteta maybe is getting the players he needs. So it's not over for Arsenal yet, but we need to spend this.
But guys, we'll move on to the next topic so that the next topic I'll even let Anita introduce it. She wrote an article about the way UEFA deal with racism on the pitch. Obviously, we know there's a 3-step rule, which Anita had a few opinions about. So, Anita, do you want to go ahead and talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so my thing is with the whole Black Lives Matter movement now blowing up, and with, last season we saw England versus, not last season, sorry, this season earlier, we saw the England versus Bulgaria match. Yes. And then we saw the UEFA 3-step protocol being used for the first time. And don't get me wrong, as effective as it was in the moment, I look back retrospectively and then I think, wow, they're really giving people 3 opportunities to be racist to black players before they can
something is done about it.
Yeah, before something's actually done about it. Saying something through the speakerphone is not enough. The first time you hear racism, for me, if it was down to me, the first time you hear any sound of racism, black players should have the authority to walk off with their manager leading the way. That's the only way we're going to see any sort of change in this racial battle that we're facing within English football. Now, there's a lot of English football fans that keep telling me, oh, racism is not as prevalent in football just because they compare it to Italy or Spain or Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the case. I feel like racism is so inconspicuous in this society. It's unbelievable. Yes, you won't hear as much racism on the pitch, but off the pitch, it's ridiculous. Online, disgusting. And then the Daily Mail, the Mirror, they don't help it. They don't help it for our Black players as well. So, okay, let me outline the 3-step protocol first of all. So the first protocol is you hear racism and there's an announcement through the speakerphone saying racism is not tolerated, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Second time around, the match stops for a couple of minutes. Again, the announcement is made, racism is not accepted, blah, 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 blah. Third time round, if you're lucky, because as far as I can recall, during the England match, it was 3 times, but third time around, if you're lucky, your manager is allowed to lead you off the pitch and abandon the match. That didn't happen in the England match, and we were praised. I say we because it touches me. We were praised as Black people for carrying on playing that match, even scoring 6 goals, of course, led by Raheem Sterling. We were praised for it. For me, it is the same thing as shut up and dribble, basically. You're basically telling me, oh, you guys got racially abused 3 times, but it's all right though.
Shut up and play football.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, it's not enough to eradicate racism from football. And then we saw what happened with Burnley in the Burnley Man City match. Thank God they got pumped 5-0. Thank God. Because I just don't understand what level of stupidity that is from any fan that is rich enough to even do that. Yeah. Do you understand? Like, you got to be rich and white to do something like that. Fly a whole plane.
Even rich, he got sacked yesterday or today.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Who did?
So the guy that did it. The guy.
Oh yeah, he's a nonsense. There's a nonsense. Yes, yeah.
He doubled down. I can't lie. I laughed at that.
No, but you laugh because it's the level of stupidity.
Basically, you have to laugh.
It's the level of. I mean, Anita, sorry, go on, carry on. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Just touch on your point. Like, we laugh because it is a level of stupidity, and it's a level of stupidity, and we're not laughing because it's funny. We're laughing because we're tired.
Yeah.
Like, what more can you do? Like, this is basically we're saying, oh, this is new. This is creative. This is another way for you guys to impose racism on us. Like, it's something that, okay, fair enough. The person got found. The person got sacked. Okay, cool. Me, I'm a bit Old Testament here. I would prefer the club to have action done on them. So let's say the club gets a fine on that. Because until the club receives that fine, they're not going to take it as seriously as, as we would, basically.
Yeah.
So it will continue happening. The people will lose their jobs, whatever, blah, 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 until the club do something about it, because they keep getting fined upon fine upon fine.
Even points, if that's what they have to do.
Even point deductions. Honestly, I wouldn't mind a team getting their points deducted because of racism. That's how serious it should be.
Just to touch on what you said there, Anita, I was absolutely disgusted, flabbergasted, shocked by that incident the other day. And the first thing that I thought of was watching that game, was thinking, this fella actually went out there and said, excuse me, mate, can I hire a plane?
Mate.
But at the end of my plane, what I'm going to do is put White Lives Matter. Is it all right if we do that? And I'm trying to sit there and think about the person's psyche to go and do this. Yes. So we talk a lot about educating people. And, Anita, you said it, eloquently well, beautifully well. But you got to remember, you're dealing with a percentage of people that love to keep us in our box, that look at this movement for all the right reasons. When you say Black Lives Matter, and they turn around and say White Lives Matter, they say that because they don't understand us. And they say that because they fear us.
Yeah.
You understand that? They fear us. Why do I say that? Because they fear that what they have known to become normal for their whole life is now being put under threat. Yeah. So therefore, we have to reserve and keep our privilege, which is our skin tone.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you and I now have the same privilege as them. So for me, I think, we look at what happened the other day, and I think for me on a personal level and a professional level is the case of, it just kind of brought me back to a place where we still got a ton of work to do. And these people are not getting what we're trying to say. And they're not getting it because why? They are afraid of what we can be, which is to be equal.
Yeah.
You know what?
That's what they don't.
Jide, what would you say as well in terms of solutions going forward in football? This whole 3-step rule, and it has to happen 3 times before you walk off the pitch. What would your solutions be going forward?
So for me, I'll first touch on the racism.
Mm-hmm.
It's, for me, the backlash is always going to happen. Like, I don't understand why people didn't think white people or nationalists were going to react this way.
Of course
it is a threat to them.
Standard.
You're going to equalize something, and you're equalizing something it's harder to bring everyone up. It's easier to level things out. So if you're going to level things out, that means you're going to take away some of your privileges. And nobody in the history of any society just accepts to just
take away their privilege.
Accept some of their privileges. They were always going to have backlash. So that's one. Number 2, I want these people to be visible. I don't like the idea of just completely just taking them out from our consciousness, because that makes us complacent. They exist. I want to know that they exist, and I want to know who they are, so I don't mess with them. I know not to platform them. So I need to know who you are, because if you pretend that they don't exist, the insidious racism, that's when that stuff happens, because they'll now say, he's a big black man. He looks intimidating, then we're not giving him an opportunity. And you can't prove that this person's doing that, because they've been very covert with it. Yeah. So that is why I would touch on that. But in terms of solutions in football, what I would say is the 3-step rule is nonsense to me. Like, compared to how our football treats other groups that get discriminated against racism, like, they're harsh with it.
How can we kind of, especially in football, how can we gain that sort of clout and have things dealt with, and them to stop this whole media stuff and actually deal with it?
In English football, we are in the best period, in my opinion. We have the most talented black footballers coming through. I just wish we create like a black union or football union. Look at NBA, it's 8% black. Adam Silver bends the knee to them guys whenever they have an issue. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, your stars.
But do you know why? Jenny, can I tell you something from me on the professional level? Do you know, I love everything you just said there. And I think, Harold, the question you just posed to Judy was a fantastic question. And it's something that a couple of years ago, I was invited to this Rooney Rule meeting. I'm sure you guys have all heard of that before, the Rooney Rule meeting. And I was invited to that. And I've got to say this, and I won't say any names because I don't want to chuck anybody under the bus. But we was having this meeting about, the black player, the black power in terms of the football. You just alluded to just now, Jiddy, in terms of the NBA and how the commissioner listens to the black players. Because you know why? The difference between the NBA and the Premier League is that the NBA and the players that's in the NBA understand who they are. They are African Americans. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
I'm saying this passionately. Anita, you see what I'm saying? They are classed as African Americans. Here, you'd have a man from Jamaica, a man from flipping St. Kitts, a man. Oh, I'm not African. What? I'm from Jamaica. You're joking, bruv. You are African. You're from a little tiny island. You was put there and started your race.
Yeah.
So in America, what they're saying is that, listen, whether I'm from Jamaica, whether I'm from Africa, whether I'm from here, there, or anywhere, we are black Africans. We are African Americans. We do not have the identity here in the UK. Judy, see what you just said there? This is the problem that we have in the Premier League. I will call you and say, Judy, you know what? As another top black player, we see what's going on in here. And I'm just speaking from my experience. So I'm not coming at you, Judy, so please understand that. I'm speaking from my position. We could turn around and call another top black player. Do you know they will turn around and say to us, yo, Ed, you know what? I hear what you're saying, though, but man can't get involved in all that because man's got his P's he's got to look after.
Yeah.
And you understand what I'm saying to you? So therefore, what they do, we dilute our currency. We dilute our worth.
That's what I'm saying. That's why.
Correct.
That's why I said we need a black players union, So,
But then,
as you
Jide,
said,
like he said, would they all agree to be in a black
yeah,
This
player?
is the thing, Jimmy.
no. That's why, because it's not there yet. There's a difference between speculating, because again, I agree. I completely agree. People are out for themselves. Football's a short career.
Jimmy, can I tell you something? I started this in 16 years ago. I worked with one of the two black prominent, I mean, when I say prominent, I'm talking top level football agents. Okay? They were advocating this 16 years ago. Do you know the same thing they came to now? Or back then was the brothers don't want to get involved. Do you know why? Because now they're in a position of privilege where it doesn't affect them anymore. Therefore,
Eddie,
why am I going to mess up my 25 grand a week to let somebody else come in? You see what I'm saying?
Eddie, let's see what he says. Yeah, go on.
And I fully agree with everything. It's not, trust me, I'm not being ignorant to that. But I'm saying if we want a solution, remember, a solution is idealistic. You can't enforce rules. There has to be ethics behind it. So if we create some rule, it doesn't mean it's going to fix things.
Yeah.
It has to be done by the people willing to actually make those rules, make changes happen. So although the Black Players Union is 16 years old in terms of an idea, the reason why I'm a bit more hopeful now is the generation that's coming up.
More aware, right?
They're more aware. They're more active. They don't take nonsense. For example, I don't know Pogba's agent. I don't know what he's told Pogba. I'm sure he's advised him, don't talk, don't let these guys. Don't. I'm sure he has. I'm sure people around Pogba have said, don't say anything. Me personally, if I was Pogba, I swear to you, I know I'm the best player in Man United. I will talk. There's no one can stop me. Who's gonna do anything? No one's gonna do anything to me. I'm gonna keep talking. Sell me. Real Madrid still want me. Juventus will still want me. Barcelona still want me. I'm the best. When you're a star player,
you can afford to.
You can afford it. The problem is, the reason why those unions don't really work is because the lesser players who ain't stars, they know if they mess up, they can get sold.
Done. Yeah.
But you have. That's why I'm the England squad. That's what I was going to link it to.
So let me ask you this: why do you think Pogba's not doing this?
I want to hear what Anita has to say quickly, and then we'll go back to Jide. Go on. What would the solution be to the issue?
I'm totally on Eddie's side, 100%. Like, I feel like there are a lot of players out there right now, and I will not say names, but there are a lot of players out there right now that we do look up to already as, that person for the Black culture in football. We look up to you already. Even the whole of England looks up to, for example, I'm not specifically saying Raheem Sterling, but a lot of people look up to Raheem Sterling as Black people. And not only Black people, white people too. Raheem Sterling is almost England's star boy after Harry Kane. If Raheem Sterling turns around and says, until this racism thing is fixed properly, I'm going to play football.
Yeah.
They are going to fix it.
That is what I'm saying we should do. That's what I'm saying. A Black players union.
So I guess we're all on the same page with that. Like, we need that one player to just come out and be bold about it.
Do you mean on the pitch as well? On the pitch, like, if it happens, just walk off.
Of course, on the pitch.
Yeah.
Of course, we need someone. Honestly, we need someone like Mario Balotelli. Mario Balotelli, he didn't give a crap in Italy. Yeah. If he's hearing the racist abuse, he's walking off the pitch. He walks off and he's out. If Raheem Sterling did that every match, Raheem Sterling is bigger than Mario Balotelli, especially in England, around the world. He is bigger than Mario Balotelli. If Raheem Sterling turns around and does that, like, for example, in the Chelsea match, if he had turned around in such a big game and walked off,
But the reason I feel like Raheem didn't do that is the first time he was an up and coming star, and look at the way he got piled on and nobody backed him. The only person that backed him was his own player. Was what's his name? Brazilian guy, Fernandinho.
Yeah.
He said in another in a Brazil interview saying, like, he doesn't understand why they're attacking Raheem like this. He's in his own international duty and he's speaking up for Raheem Sterling, while the Black people in England
are not saying anything.
The Black players in England are not saying anything. That is a problem. So as you said, Raheem, Pogba, if the star players say, you know what, F this, I don't care. If this happens, I'm walking off the pitch.
But the thing I have a problem with here, is Pogba. Now, Paul Pogba, he's not English. The English people will not care. They already don't care.
Yeah, of
They
course
don't
not.
care. It
But
has to be. It has to
But
be.
if it affects United,
if it affects
Promise
the
you they won't
club,
care. They won't care. And we've
trust
seen
me,
it.
they will.
They won't care. They've already replaced, mentally, they've replaced Paul Pogba with Bruno Fernandes. The majority of the white community that support Manchester United think Paul Pogba is not as good as we say he is. And we all know this. We all know this. You go on Twitter, you see even with the pundits on Sky News, they are supporting Bruno Fernandes more than they are with Paul Pogba anyway. So Paul Pogba doing that, it's not going to change nothing. It has to be an English player.
So,
in my opinion, for anything to change in English football, it has to be an English player. Because
there's
if you
not
go to
many
the
black
Euros,
English stars.
it has to be a black English star. If you go to the Euros without Raheem Sterling, without Gomez,
Rashford.
do you think they're not going to
Yeah, of course. Them guys have got to do it. Yeah. Them guys have got to say we're not.
So to summarize, I'll just get everyone's summary on if they put you as, you know, the decision maker. Now you have to make a decision on the steps that you take to help eradicate racism in football. What would you do? I'll start with Eddie and then we'll go around.
I just think for me, guys, it's something that we should have a zero tolerance level to. Okay, we start from there. We have a zero tolerance level to. Forget this free strikes and you're out rule. Why should somebody take free opportunities to abuse me? You know, that doesn't work. That should never have worked. That should never even been a thought process. Okay, so for me, what I would like to see happening is that as soon as we see this in the crowd, in the stadia, amongst players, okay, on other players, that's reported, and the game gets abandoned, and the player that made that insult or that gesture, they lose 3 points, plus they get not a £20,000 fine, not a £10,000 fine, not a £30,000 fine. They get into the millions, okay? Because guess what? That's the only way we're going to be able to affect this change, because it's only going to happen when you affect people in their pockets. And football is in an industry where it's all about money.
Yeah. What about yourself today?
I'm similar. So I think the free strike rule should be implemented in a different way. There shouldn't be free strikes for the game to be abandoned. So if you get reported for a racist incident, the team that the player got abused has an option to just abandon the game. Yeah, if they decided to play on, cool. If it happens again, it's abandoned. No one has a chance. It just end the game. Yeah. And the gates of the team that the club was racist, they lose it. They automatically forfeit that gate, and it goes to the other team, or it goes towards racism.
Yeah.
When you do stuff like that, the club are gonna take it so serious, because especially if you're a small club. Let's keep it real. It happens a lot in the smaller terraces, because the lad culture.
Yeah.
Is especially you're from
policed as much.
It's not as policed, and you're up north. You're like, them clubs actually need the gates. It's not like a big Manchester United or Chelsea or them little small clubs. They need the gate. So if they know we can lose our gate in this game, they are going to make sure all of them are going to behave. They're going to behave.
Yeah, and the fans will stop as well.
And it will stop. So,
no transfer if you're losing gate.
No transfer. If you lose your gate, it's crazy. You destroy your club because you want to be an idiot. Yeah. No one's going to do that. And if you take it further, let's say you've lost your gate in one game, the next game you lose 3 points and you lose your gate. So those are severe and I think fair punishment.
What about you, Anita? What would your solution be?
Yeah, I'm along the same lines as Eddie and Jide. Like, again, I am a bit more Old Testament, and I totally agree with if there is racial abuse on the pitch, the person who is dishing out the racism, that they automatically forfeit that match. Yeah, I'm all for it and all of that. But my worry is more to fans, because racist abuse doesn't happen as much amongst players anymore as it used to. So my problem now is with fans. If we see fans being racist in the stadium, we need to have the means to be able to kick them out at that point in time. Yeah. You're using all of this energy to stop the matches for a couple of minutes. Whilst you are stopping these matches, use your VAR technology and find that fan or
the millions of cameras you have at the stadium. Yeah,
millions of cameras, all these different angles that you were pointing at. Find those reckless fans that are
Get
being
them out.
racist,
Yeah.
escort them. And until they're escorted, no
No
restart.
game. Yeah.
Simple as. The fans online are the worst. The same way Black Twitter can find a racist man's address, job, even in America, social security number. In Black Twitter, it's the same way we need maybe not a policing, but some sort of advocacy, some sort of group that will go on, go online, find these racist abusers, like the guy that racially abused Ian Wright, right? Find who he is, get his full name, get his address, ban him for life. Simple. Yeah. Do more about it, because if it was something else, you would be doing these, you will be taking these actions. Do more about it, especially with
I agree with you more.
It's not
the online one is a bit harder. The online one's a bit harder and it's a bit more costly because.
But then if
spend the money.
But Jide, if they're finding clubs well enough, that's what we'll put the money to find online fans that are,
So I would 100%. And you got to remember, anywhere you hit someone economically, you'll get a solution.
Yeah, of course.
You'll get a solution. And in the world that we are right now, where players are earning £300,000-400,000 a week, a club needs to make sure that that kind of money goes into their players, not on fines or on idiots. So therefore, I agree with what Anita says and Julie says, is that we have to make sure we find some sort of structure. But this 3-step rule to abuse someone 3 times, I think as soon as that happens, whoever doesn't agree with it in your team, they should also get fined.
Yeah.
You understand me, Harold? They should also go as well, because, we saw what happened in Portugal last season. I think so early on this season.
Yeah.
I think it was
the
I
striker.
can't remember, I think it was
I forgot.
Correct. I think.
Yeah.
And his white counterparts are saying, just carry on and play. Just carry on.
Yeah.
They have no level of understanding or empathy for that guy and what he's gone through, or what he's seen in his lifetime. And they're saying, listen, carry on playing, and they're almost coming at him. So until you find that balance, guys, and I think we have to be strong in it. And I think what you said there, you made some fantastic points. And I think until we find that balance and we find that space where these guys are not going to be let off with any stupid fines, like you said, Judy, and to be counted for in a way that you get ejected at the stadium, everybody looks at you going off, and people know exactly who you are. It's printed in the papers. It's printed in every single platform. So when you think about doing that again, it not only affects you, but it affects your wife, it affects your kids, it affects your business. It's your income, because if you don't have any income, you're not going football.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying.
Thank you so much. Go on.
Going a little bit off topic as well. I feel like we also need maybe a separate agency that can just, in fact, no, it starts with managers. I feel like managers need to encourage their players to not accept racism. So I came up with this from when Moise Keane got racially abused, and then you had Banuki. He came out and he said he shouldn't have reacted the way he reacted.
When he scored a goal.
And then I'm thinking, like, what are these younger players being told on the pitch or during training on how to react to racism? Do you understand? There needs to be someone there.
Anita, I would love to have a conversation with you about this. I would really love to.
It's because managers are under pressure to perform, to get points. Their job is a points based.
That's why I said an independent body. If you get an independent body, it's the same way Ofsted comes into schools, the same way that it needs to come into football, the same way. If we can get an independent body to just manage the way our black young players are being managed when it comes to racism, because the white people that they play with, they can never understand.
Anita, I know we're getting off topic a little bit. Harold, I'm really sorry. I know we've got to wrap up in a moment.
Sorry.
But you just made a very, very valid point there. And all I will say to you is this. You're only able to take information from the people within your circles. Right? And if the people you have in your circles don't represent you or your culture or understand who you are as a person, they're never ever gonna advise you what to do as a young black man to stand up, because they always see you as a meal ticket. And I know I would love to elaborate on that on another day, because I know we've got to wrap up right now, guys. So Listen,
Thank you
guys, it's been
so
an
much,
absolute
guys.
pleasure. Thank you very much.
Honestly, man, it's been amazing hearing the solutions, and
Thank
you know, I'm glad that we can put this out there because I know somewhere, somehow, someone's gonna get hold of this and be like, you know what,
Yeah.
this makes sense. And what we're doing, we're just literally pandering to everything that's going on by this whole 3-step rule and everything. So thank you so much for joining us today, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you later.